Yesterday on the program, we discussed extensively the recent hike in electricity tariff. And we looked at all of the issues arising from that and also the ripple effect this will have on Nigeria's economy. Now, are Nigerians just going to accept this new tariff for electricity? It seems not, because we hear that the OPS, that's the organized private sector, are actually protesting this hike in the price of electricity, and they have taken their protest not to the street but to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, as controversies continue to trail the federal government's recent removal of electricity subsidy for over 1.8 million customers categorized to be on band A feeders, members of the organized private sector has insisted that the hike must be suspended for review. As such, plans are underway to actually meet with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on this matter. And when we're talking about the organized private sector, it includes such as the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, and the Nigeria Employees Consultative Association, amongst others. And this was disclosed on Sunday this week. Now, Prince Chilaka, to bring you into this conversation, yesterday we talked about this new electricity tariff and all of that. Also, there are videos online showing the power minister actually trying to justify, this new tariff, talking about the many challenges they have in not just the generation, but also the distribution of electricity. Plus also the attitude of Nigerians, in using electricity. We don't have discipline. According to him, people leave their freezers, their ACs and everything on, which are all telling on the power sector, as it were. Now, let's talk about this protest by the organized private sector. Seeing that the federal government has also put their foot down, that they must increase, the tariff for electricity. Do you think much will actually come up from this meeting with the president?
Well, I would start from the minister, and I would say that the comments of the minister is the most insensitive comment I've heard from anybody holding public office. And I am one of those that is calling for the resignation of the minister, because it simply shows that we have a minister who is not sensitive to the plight of the ordinary Nigerians. Each time I talk about ordinary Nigerians, I'm not talking about people who have half of their money to go to pilgrimage and government is sponsoring half of it. No, I'm talking about people who are finding it difficult daily to have 3 square meals. These are people that I'm reaching out to. These are people that the government is actually set up to take care of. Now, if you're saying that Nigerians' attitude and their usage of power is the reason why you're increasing the tariff, well, it simply shows that the minister is very, very myopic. You're talking about, the whole thing we're talking about is about 5,000 megawatts. Am I right? 5,000 megawatts. How do you want to distribute it for people to have light 24 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours? Government should be focusing on how to increase the supply. They should, these are areas they should focus. Generate more power. If you generate up to 30,000, 50,000, and you're not talking about increasing, and you're not talking about the availability. I know Nigerians, if you provide it for them, and you begin to increase it gradually, they will pay for it. But unfortunately, no. We just have a government that is not proactive. I keep saying it. In terms of dealings with the people, ordinary people, they are not being proactive. This is the same thing the government did when Mr. President on his inauguration speech said petroleum subsidy is gone. We are still suffering it. We haven't gotten out of it. Yesterday I bought fuel for 675 naira per liter. So we have not gotten out of it. All the filling stations are increasing their pump price, slightly, so that you don't feel it. You drive in, you see 610, 615, 625, depending on where you're buying from. And everybody is keeping quiet. So the organized labor that is talking now, I don't understand, why haven't they protested over the petroleum subsidy? Why haven't they supported? That is where the hardship of Nigerians really started. And so what kind of protests are they doing? oh, they're coming together, they want to go and meet Mr. President. You know, you don't protest to government by wearing suits and going to a rendezvous. No, government doesn't listen to such. What government listens to is when the people come out and say no, and they sit on the roads, they block the roads. That's what government listens to.
But what has that achieved for us in the past, you know, as against us actually sitting at the table and having a dialogue?
What kind of dialogue are you going to have? When the government was going to remove subsidy on petroleum, was there a dialogue? Talking about this electricity subsidy that is being removed or whatever, has there been a dialogue? The government just see, patience. The problem we really have in this country is that we have always had leaders who are not in tandem with what the Nigerian people are going through. We have leaders who have never sat back to say to the Nigerian people, what do you people want? The only thing that government thinks about, every successful government in Nigeria, is what they think they want to give to the Nigerian people. They forget that they are employed by the Nigerian people. They don't ask the Nigerian people, what do you want? And that is why you see a local government chairman will wake up, he go and construct a borehole, he put his picture, he calls a fanfare for what you ordinarily should do constitutionally for the people. See the publicity that they are doing over the Third Mainland Bridge. I mean, in this age and time, you go and work on the Third Mainland Bridge and you're turning it into a mega project. Everybody is now doing all sorts of video. This is the height of hypocrisy. It's the height of hypocrisy. And unfortunately, Nigerians, the ordinary Nigerians who are suffering, would never go after the oppressors. They will still go after same Nigerians that are suffering with them. Go out in the street tomorrow. You will see how people will be queuing up for food items from the same people that are oppressing them. So sometimes I don't even blame the leaders. I just blame the Nigerian people, because the leaders understand the psyche of the Nigerian people and they take advantage of it.
All right, so it's still an ongoing conversation, this issue of the power tariff hike. Online, the comments are not very palatable because Nigerians are expressing their discontent with this recent hike. Let's not forget that the issue of the fuel subsidies removal is still on ground even as we speak, because the issue of the pump price of petrol, I don't think has even stabilized yet, just as Prince Chilaka mentioned. Also, the economic crunch, okay, it has depleted people's purchasing power to the point where things are almost, you know, you almost cannot afford to buy things anymore because they are way up there. We're still battling with that, and now the hike in electricity tariff. But then the federal government is insisting on this hike, saying at some point, you know, this needs to happen, and it has to happen now. But the question is, paying much more for electricity, will it improve on service delivery to the people? Will we begin to have light now? That is the big question people are asking. Meanwhile,
sorry, when you ask that question, why is it that nobody, I'm just so bitter that nobody's asking those who got the privatization, those who this government establishment was privatized to. Nobody's asking, what have they brought to the table? What have they brought to the table? We're still using the same dilapidated instruments and equipment and infrastructure. So what have they brought to the table? What is the reason, or why is government on its own? You now say that this is a private sector business. Why is government so interested in everything that has to do with the private sector? Why? Is it that they have vested interest in this thing? So it is all about the profit they want to make? On one hand, we're talking of petroleum. We're saying, oh, there are people who have cartel that is benefiting from the subsidy. Up till today, nobody has been arrested, nobody has been punished. Yet subsidy is gone. Now we're coming to electricity. We are saying, oh, Nigerians are not paying, Nigerians are doing this, Nigerians are doing, you have removed subsidy. And nobody's asking questions. Those you sold these things to, what did they bring to the table? Well, on the other hand, we have insecurity. We're talking about farmers and headers clashing and all of that. And the government is still involved. Why is government always involved in things that are affecting the ordinary Nigerians? Why is government not thinking out of the box? Why would government be interested with where a man who has cows takes his cows to? Why is government not making law to say, if you have cows and you need to move them around, go and rent a house, a space, and build a ranch? So why is government being so callous? Why must the ordinary Nigerians continue to pay for the affluent lifestyle of their leaders?
Questions and many more questions. Meanwhile, the World Bank has stated that Nigeria's inflation rate will remain high. It will continue to remain high at 24.8% year on year. All right. Now, they also reaffirmed their projection of 3.3% economic growth for Nigeria in 2024 and reduced their projection for 2025 to 2026 by 0.1 percentage point to 3.6% from its January projection of 3.7%, which means that with everything we are seeing in the economy, you know, it might sound good, but the affectations to our economy might be really, really minute as of now.